Hey everybody, welcome back. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I have become so frustrated with the problems on the Mustang that I just have to walk away from it before I either give up for a long period of time again, which at my age I can't really do, or before I become so frustrated I do something catastrophically stupid. So let's do something fun. And for me, that's going to be a combination of the CJ-7, a new toy, and maybe a little 3D design creation and making stuff. So I want to get that Weber carburetor tuned because if you remember from a previous video, I took the projection off of it, which still works okay. I mean, I'm just tired of screwing with it. Probably I'll put it up for sale in case there's anybody somewhere who needs parts for theirs or wants a complete one. And I won't put a Weber on it, and I want to get the Weber tuned. Runs great at idle, cold starts good, but when you open it up all the way, it falls on its face, which is a common problem. So unfortunately, my wideband AEM02 sensors failed on me. The gauge failed, and the seller is completely ghosting me at this point. They originally asked me to send them a video of what it does or doesn't do, and kind of hard to send a video of something that doesn't work, but I did. And now they're just ghosting me entirely, even though I said, well, okay, the heck with the 5-year warranty, just sell me another gauge, and they're still not responding to me. So anyway, I bought this one. This is something that I designed and made. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this new gauge is Performance Gauges CN Racker, or whatever. And here it is. Here it's the same kind of thing. Says JJ Coco on the front of it. Have no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's the manufacturer of the gauge, or just whatever name they happen to think up. This one comes with a separate little control box. It comes with a little mounting kit. It comes with an O2 sensor and all the wiring you need to connect it. And it even came with a bung and a plug. I don't need those since I already have those in the Jeep. And then I decided to redo my let me show you the other one. So here is the failed AEM or Chinese knockoff, I don't know, gauge that came out of it. And this is the housing I made for it. The housing had a single shark fin coming down from it and went on a part on the steering wheel that had 2 fins sticking up, and the bolt went between them. I appear to have lost that steering wheel part, which I don't really care about since I'm not planning on using it again, but I would have bet money that it was still here. Maybe it just turned invisible. Things have a habit of turning invisible on me, which is sometimes why I make them out of bright colors, because it makes it harder for them to turn invisible. Anyway, I don't know where it's at. But anyway, I decided this time I wanted something a bit sturdier than that single fin. And the lower part only had spot for a single zip tie to go around it. So I went back into Fusion and I designed these 2 pieces. These 2 pieces, the upper part has 3 fins and the lower part has 2. And the lower part has a slightly better curve to it, is bigger, and has a spot for 2 much wider zip ties to go through it. So I think that's going to be good. I also made it a little bit heavier duty overall because I'd like it to be a little sturdier. And the gauge, the AEM gauge fits in it snugly, but this new gauge, where did it go? Let's go back to it. This new gauge has is a little bit smaller, even though they're both supposed to be 52 millimeters, and it fits in loose. So instead of printing up multiple of these till I get a friction fit or gluing it, I think what I'm going to do is put 3 or 4, cuts back, maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch in this, put the gauge in, then I'll just put a zip tie around it to hold it. Instructions came with it, and I have already plugged all the plugs into everything and hooked it up to 12 volts, and I know the gauge lights up and it gives me an O2 reading. So I'm going to use the O2 sensor that came with it. I have no idea. I'm sure it's a Chinese knockoff. I have the Bosch that came with the other one, or at least what purports to be a Bosch. The gauge identified it as a Bosch, but let's use the one that came with this just for sport and amusement. Alrighty, I have my O2 sensor in place. I have the wires coming up here, zip tied there, zip tied with the plug there. I've got a new tool, and you guys are going to laugh at me saying, gee Chuck, I've had one of those for years. What happened to you? But I got a zip tie gun, and I got to tell you, I think I bought one of these years ago, like from Harbor Freight, and I think it broke like on the third or fourth zip tie, and I never got another one. This one I got off Amazon pretty cheap. I mean, I've probably done 15, 20 zip ties now around the house and on the different vehicles and stuff. And it works great. I'm very pleased with it. So something for me there. Now I need to run the wire from here, from the O2 plug. I need to run that through this here and inside, because everything else is going to live inside. And one thing worthy of note, look at the wire. Look at the wire coming from the O2 sensor. Look at this thing. It's 12 feet freaking long. Okay, I've got all my wires run. Nothing, obviously, nothing is tucked up away yet and tied up, but I want to just test it first. So, 15 point something or other up on high idle. Seems lean for being just started. And the choke on. Let's make sure the choke is on. Well, that doesn't seem to be changing at all. Is the O2 sensor not plugged in? There's your problem, mister. All right, let's see if that makes it better. Hey, look at that. We have a more intelligent reading. All right, I'm convinced it works. Let's turn it off, and let's get the wires tucked away and get the gauge pod in and everything put together. I believe I am all mounted now. I had to print a second one of my little gauge cups. The first one was just too big. Even cutting it and squeezing it wasn't getting it in. This one was actually a little bit too small, so when I put my cuts in it, the gauge pushed right in and it's nice and tight. And for my purposes, it's fine. I'm not 100% sure I like where I have the box in there. But I honestly, once I think I get the carburetor jetted, I don't really think I'm going to want or need an O2 gauge in it anymore. So I really don't want to make it permanent. And all of this, especially I've already redone another tack mount and another base. I think I may do a third one yet. I want to redo that, and I'm going to spend more time at it. I'll probably wait till it's too hot out to do anything else. But for right now, let's see if this works. Let's turn the key on. What did I do with the key? Here we go. I'll put the wrong one in first because it's what I do. I got to mark these somehow so I don't keep doing that. Oh, I got the right one. Yay. So there's my gauge. Let's set the choke, and I don't know whether I'm pumping it too much or not enough. I'm going to give it 2. And let's see where the choke is. Choke is fully closed. That might be part of my problem. But it should open as soon as I crank. Let's see what happens. Gauge says 19.84. I think the choke opens immediately once the engine starts. Yeah, it opens. It's only shut while it's cranking. 10.68. 10.8. Let's get it off a high idle. It's off the first high idle step. And I know that's probably flickering like crazy. 11.4, 11.3. Still up at 1,000 RPM. That's about where I think the air-fuel ratio should be on this with a cold start. I'm going to give it 3-4 minutes for the choke to completely open and drop off of the second high idle step or the first high idle step, depending on how you want to look at it, down to a normal idle, and then we'll see what happens. Been 4 or 5 minutes, choke is wide open. I want to put the air filter back on, but with the air filter off and the choke wide open and at idle, we are looking at 12.6 to 12.7, almost 12, 12.8, 12. I consider that almost perfect for this engine. Air filter is back on and we have richened up a little, probably needs a new air filter element. 12.3, 12.4, jumping up almost to 12.5. Let's bring it up to mid-range around 2500. .7, 11.8, little rich at mid-range, 12, still acceptable to me. Now let's try opening up the secondaries and seeing what happens. Too lean. Did you see that? Too lean. Watch the set. I'll just punch it all the way down. You'll see it go up because of the accelerator pump, or you'll see it go down because of the accelerator pump, and then it'll stumble and you'll see it go really lean. I knew it was too lean. Look at that. That killed it. Way too lean. When I went slow, it was kind of okay. I hit 5,000 RPM. See how lean it goes? That's my problem. My the main jets on the secondary side, or some of the other things in there, are not rich enough. I'm still going to get the fuel pressure regulator in there before I do any real tuning, and I need to get the top off the carb and find out exactly what jets are in it. But I think I just need to go richer on the secondary side, because getting up around 19 or 20 ain't going to run good there. Next video, I will get the fuel pressure regulator in, although obviously my problem isn't 5 or 6 pounds of fuel pressure is overwhelming the needle of seat and making it too rich. It's actually going up to 19 to 1 and it's too lean, and that's why I'm getting the stumble. But I am going to get the fuel pressure regulator in because I do want to know what that fuel pump is doing. Also, if that fuel pump dies, I do have a Holly Red fuel pump I was planning on using for a different project, and I never got to that project at all, and it's gone now. So I might use that for this if it needs to. But I'd just as soon stick with the mechanical one, and as long as I can get one that doesn't fail. But that seems to be the problem people are complaining about. They fail. And I need to get the top off of this carburetor and figure out what jets are in it. I probably should have done that when it was still sitting on the bench. But somebody said it was on a running Jeep, so I assumed it was running right, but apparently not. Anyway, I'll get all that done, and I'll have another fun day on the Jeep. But next time out is probably going to be the Mustang, my green nemesis again. And yeah, we'll get back to that. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me on my fun kind of day off, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.